Hello, my rebels and rebellions. I'm the Dark Rebel, and welcome to the Night Tavern, and I am back, baby. I just got out from seeing Despicable Me 3, the third installment of the franchise, and it's about as accurate as you would expect. Gru, the former ferocious villain, is now the typical father and a married man with his wife Lucy, who kind of seem like who are living the normal lives and everything, but it turns out that they are still the secret agents as they were in the second one. Only this time they end up getting fired after they fail to capture the villain for this movie, Balthazar Brat, who is a lot of fun and everything. I did find myself liking this villain. He's just this kid in a grown-up man's body who's just doing all these things. He loves breakdancing, and he used to be a big-time show artist until he was let go because apparently they didn't like the idea that he was growing up and everything, so they just let him go and everything, and he ended up turning into an actual villain. That involves Gru and Lucy. End up having to retrieve this diamond, which is pretty much like the Pink Panther in animation of diamonds, since that's pretty much what it is. It's the Pink Panther, obviously. But even though they do get the diamond back, but they fail to catch the villain, so they're fired. And they then get a visit from this old man who actually comes to tell Gru that he has an older brother named Drew. Get it? Gru, Drew, they rhyme. And Drew reveals that he and his brother are actually come from a long line of villains and everything, and they decide to pull off one heist together. And it turns out to be different, as Gru intends to steal diamonds so that they can get their jobs back and everything. The animation in the movie is actually pretty good. It's just about as good as it was in the original two. Really no improvement in it or anything. It's just pretty much just the same animation. Drew it is pretty much just kind of like his brother and everything, but he's not really as he was made out to be and everything. The guy voicing Balthazar Brat, which is Trey Parker, really does a pretty good job too. He really just captures this essence of this guy who is pretty much just a kid in a grown-up's body and everything, who just cannot get outside the fad like a lot of kid actors do nowadays days, or before then. They when they star as a kid and everything, they just couldn't handle the outside world and everything after being let go and everything. And he does really capture that essence, in my opinion, and everything. One of the disappointing factors that I kind of really didn't like with this movie was that the minions, and because the minions have always been my favorite part for these movies and everything. They were the ones who actually make these movies and everything. They were in the other two. They were just a lot of fun. They always made me laugh and everything. But in this one, not only are they really don't have that much screen time together, but that's because the movie is more focused on Drew and Gru, just like it's supposed to be, because with them being long lost twin brothers, finding each other and trying to establish that brotherly love between each other. But the minions, though, not only are they not around that much in this movie, they're unfortunately not as funny as they were in the original movies. And that, in my opinion, is kind of sad, honestly, because, again, they were the ones who really made the movies in the first two movies. And furthermore, they're also underplayed, honestly. None of the things they do really made me laugh or anything. I mean, I did get at least one or two laughs, but I really wasn't laughing hard or anything like I did when I saw them in the first two. They're pretty much just, honestly, just there for show, honestly, and that is a big problem factor for me and everything. Also, I really honestly did not feel that much emotion with Drew and his adopted daughters or anything. Like, there really wasn't any bonding between them and everything. Of course, the bonding is actually being more played with Lucy and the daughters, because she's still trying to get used to the fact that the girl, now that she's married to Drew, and that she now has 3 adoptive daughters, and that is understandable. It can be very hard at times to get used to something like that, especially if you've never been a mother, let alone to have 3 adopted daughters and everything. The movie itself, it was pretty much just general to me. It was a good movie, but in my opinion, with barely not that much emotion with the main. Now there is some emotion between Drew and Gru, because you can actually tell that they want to establish that bond together, though they're also coming from separate worlds. Drew, he no longer wants to be a villain, because he now has experienced the good side of being a good guy, pretty much, because he now has a wife and he has a family, and he knows that if he continues to remain as a villain, he's gonna lose all that. But Gru doesn't want to lose that. He just wants to keep the family tradition alive and everything, and you can really feel that. All in all, the movie itself, to me, well, it did get a few laughs out of it, but a lot of the slapstick really fell flat, honestly, and the jokes themselves didn't really honestly just didn't make me laugh or anything. I'm gonna give Despicable Me 3 an average. Guys, thank you for listening. I am now back, and as you can see, I ended up filming my review for this in my car, and the reason why is because I end up having to move out of my apartment, unfortunately, due to certain circumstances, I will say. I don't want to say exactly why right now, but let's just say I got some new things going on and everything, so I had to move out of my apartment for that. So from now on, I will be filming my reviews in my car after I've seen the movie and everything. So kind of doing a little unintentionally rip off of Cinema Snob Midnight viewings unintentionally. So that's what we'll be doing from now on. Look forward to next week, when we will look at Spider-Man Homecoming, and also get ready, because we are also going to be experiencing and getting ready with July just right around the corner, tomorrow obviously, as we take a look at each season and prepare for the 7th season of, in my opinion, one of the greatest shows of all time, Game of Thrones. And with that said, this is the Dark Rebel, and the Night Tavern is closed for the rest of the day. Good night, everybody.